PJ Morton, welcome back to Australia, a seasoned traveller to Australia, and I'm guessing since about 2011 when Maroon 5 were down here, would have been probably about the first time you got down here as well.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've done many show with them and without them. So you've clocked up
Yeah,
a few stamps in those passports.
Yeah, I've had such a great time here. I played my share of basketball here in Melbourne as well, you know. It's some good tall basketball players in Australia. So I've had a good time. I've had a good time here. I remember that first time. I wonder if it was the very first time, but we played basketball with Justin Bieber here in Australia. I'll never forget that. Never forget that.
Oh wow. Now that I'd like to see photos of.
Yeah. Way back.
Did you ever post them on your socials?
No, I think it was just a private thing. Yeah, it was me, Adam, some of the Maroon guys and Justin and his team. I don't think we ever put it out there. We talked about it a little bit, but I don't know if there were pictures actually.
People would pay to see that basketball match.
Yeah, it's true.
Who won?
It was a fun night. Adam, I don't remember. Like I said, 2011, probably.
Yeah.
So it quite a bit ago.
2011. Oh, Bieber was only 3 foot tall at that point.
Yeah, he's a good basketball player. He was probably about 16 at that time, so I don't know what year that was. Yeah.
You've had quite the history. You've been making albums for nearly 20 years. The Emotions album turns 20 next year. That's a long innings.
Yeah, actually, this October it turns 20 officially. I quickly re-released it in 05, but the original came out October of 2004. So yeah, coming up on 20 years. Crazy.
Are you one of these artists who sort of marks the occasion? Do you go back and perform that album or celebrate it in some way?
Well, I've never had a 20 before, so that's pretty special. And we've been talking about doing something to mark that because I mean that's the beginning of everything for me. So we're talking about it because the 20 is pretty special. I don't mark everyone, every year or every 5, but 20 it seems worth it.
That was quite an impressive album. I really do enjoy listening to that first record. It's got it's got a consistency from beginning to end. And, we can really hear your influences coming out in there, particularly, obviously, you're a big Stevie Wonder fan who then in latter years, right up to the most recent album, have been working with, which must be an absolutely incredible experience.
Mind blowing. I mean, I still, I think, not I think, we consider ourselves friends now, but I can never get too comfortable. That's Stevie Wonder. You know what I'm saying? He just called me actually in the airport as I was flying to Australia to talk about another song that we've done together. And I was showing my friends the phone like, man, Stevie's calling me. I never get used to it. I never get used to it. And like you said, yeah, very early on, I mean, he was my blueprint, for what I wanted to do. He's a big reason of why, as a keyboard player who wanted to write songs and sing, he was the beacon for me. And so to eventually actually get to him and get to work with him multiple times now is, beyond my wildest dreams,
When you made the New Orleans album 10 years ago, and he was on that with the track Only One, was that the first time you met him?
I actually I met him before that. I don't consider that first meet. It was just like a hi and bye. I didn't get to even tell him how much he means to me. I just, Kirk Franklin introduced me to him. He was at a concert. And, when he did Only One and played harmonica on that, we weren't even in the same place. And right after I recorded it, we just happened to be on a flight together. I didn't know he was there, but I was going to the bathroom. And I felt this tall figure behind me. And I looked back, I'm like, Stevie, I'm like, it's PJ, you just did my song, And he was like, man, you can sing. I love that song. And that's actually our first like official meet. And it's been plenty after that. I let him go to the bathroom first. I got out of the way and let Stevie go to the bathroom. But that's the first time we actually connected, and it's just been a build up of the relationship since then.
And most recently on the Watch the Sun album, is it now a matter of just picking up the phone? Hey, Stevie, I'm making another record. Come on
Man,
down.
yeah, it's crazy. I had Be Like Water, and I really felt like Stevie could fit on it. I'm like, man, this, but I wasn't gonna bother him. I wasn't gonna bother him. I'm like, you know what? We're friends. Let me just not ask him for anything. And then he called me and said, I have this song that I want you to sing on. And I'm like, oh, well, now I gotta ask him. It's like now that was a sign for me. So I recorded that song with him. And I was like, Steve, I got a song, man, that I think, and he was gracious. And this time was totally different because now we were in the room. We have some relationship, and I got to produce him, and I was nervous, because it's like, what do you tell? You tell Stevie, do it again, like, what are you doing, But it showed me clearly why Stevie is Stevie, because he wanted me to make sure it was right. He was like, no, tell me. He was like, you want me to do it again? Tell me. And that's why the greats are great, It's like he was as teachable as anybody I've worked with, maybe more than some of these new artists that I've had to produce, which is why he's probably who he is.
So when you talk about another song that you've done, is that for your next album? Tell me about what
No,
Stevie
no,
Wonder
it's
song will
actually
be.
for, and I can say this because I've seen it in the press. I've seen him talk about it in the press, but it's for a project that he's working on, which maybe means more to me than me asking him to be on anything of mine. He didn't have to ask me to be on his. So I believe it's going to be a Stevie Wonder project of some sort. I don't know the details, but it is a duet with us. But it's for one of his projects.
The New Orleans album, Adam Levine was on that. You had already started working with Maroon 5 at that point, hadn't you?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, I was already in the band. I joined in 2010 and was touring. This is before I was in any of the press pictures or anything. I was just a touring member, 2010 to 2012. We released that in 2013. I remember recording Adam's vocal in his hotel room while we were on tour. So, and James's guitar we recorded on the tour bus. So it was a very much yeah, after I was in the band and we were on the road. I caught both of them and got them on that song.
Wow. The
Yeah.
guests on Watch the Sun just are absolutely incredible. Naz, Wale, Jill Scott, El DeBarge. Are these all
Yeah.
personal friends?
El, I had known El DeBarge, not really. Jill Scott, I had some relationship with through the years. El DeBarge, it was just another hero of mine. And I just felt like the record, for me, I don't think of features prior to writing songs because sometimes that can kind of lead you, lead the way you create it. And I don't like that. I try to create as pure as I can. But when I heard it, I'm like, man, I would love El DeBarge on this. I don't know where he is or where. And I reached out to him like on Instagram or something, and he said he was a fan of mine, and that blew my mind. I'd never talked to him before, and yeah, same type of thing, man. I think what's kept me humble the most is the respect I get from these legends. It lets me know that I'm in the right place. To know that I'm making them proud and keeping integrity in music. For them to be so gracious to just say yes is amazing. Wale, we had run into each other through the years, and it was just good timing. It was good timing, and he loved the song. Yeah, Alex Isley, of course, is like my friend. We've collaborated a few times now, so that was family. That was an easy call. But yeah, it was just I think people just respect the music and we're happy to be a part of what I was doing.
The songs Be Like Water, On My Way, So Lonely, are songs you do perform live. How do you perform them live when you don't have those big names in the room?
Yeah. Well, thankfully, Be Like Water, Stevie and I, there's no Nas, so we don't do the rap. But Stevie and I are close enough in there, you know, where you know, it just feels like his son singing his verse or something, you know. On My Way, I give that to my background singer Jarrell. He sings that. That's kind of his moment in the show, to showcase his vocals. So Lonely, we don't do the rap, but it's such a rhythmic song. We change it into a musical moment where I give, you know, when I have the horns with me, there's a solo right there. My drummer gets a solo in that section, and we make it kind of a African rhythmic, you know, break right there. You know, I've been touring for a long time and playing live, so I've always had to learn how to recreate these moments in different ways, you know, without having all these people there. It'd be a dream to have all of them there every time, but it's just not realistic.
I don't think anyone can afford that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. The actual touring schedule of Maroon 5, I guess, isn't that heavy. So that would allow you the spare time to do your own thing, do your own tour, I would imagine.
I mean, I'd say maybe right now, there's definitely been a time where, you know, it was we were both heavy. And that's probably the biggest challenge, you know, out of everything with the band and I. But we, you know, just find a way. We just find a way. Of course, we got the Vegas residency this year that we're doing. And so I know exactly when those are, and I'm able to build around that stuff. But also we do shows that aren't publicized all the time as well. We stay pretty busy with private shows and different things like that. But we're working on new music right now. So there's always something going on, to be honest. It's just I say it's good problems to have, you know. It's like but we all keep busy. We all keep busy.
Are you familiar with your Australian connection within Maroon 5, Sam Farrer, who was the
I
son of John
am.
Farrer, who
Yeah,
wrote
yeah.
all those great songs for Olivia Newton-John?
Are
You're
you
the one that
kidding
I
me?
want, hopelessly
Are you
devoted to
kidding me?
you.
Yeah, John Farrar, man. I mean, he's like a hero of mine. Sam is my buddy. Um, John has written one of my favorite songs ever. That wasn't it was for Olivia, called Falling, on that first physical album. It's one of the most beautiful songs ever, man. And so Sam's got some family and friends coming out to these Australia shows. You know, whenever I'm here, he's like, "Hey, man, I got, you know, this cousin coming or this friend coming." So yeah, I'm aware, and I love it. I love it. You know, it's extended family.
Well, it sort of goes into that Bee Gees connection because you've covered How Deep Is Your Love, you perform How Deep Is Your
Sure.
Love. So there's
Yeah.
another kind of Australian connection.
Sure. Yeah. Australia has indirectly changed my life for sure. You know, How Deep Is Your Love has become a staple for me. You know, my version is like giving it new life. It's already, obviously, that's why I covered it. Such an amazing song already. The melody, I'm a Bee Gees fan. And but what How Deep Is Your Love has done for me, I'm forever grateful. So Australia is a little bit of home for me, you know.
How Deep Is Your Love earned you a Grammy? Well, one of 5 Grammys now. You've got quite the collection, haven't you? Do you sort of have
Yeah.
a Grammy room at home now?
You know, during the pandemic, I built some bookshelves. I became very handy during the pandemic, and but my little bookshelves that I built is kind of full with the four right now. The fifth hasn't made it home yet, and you know, but between my Grammys and like Maroon's Billboard Awards and American Music Awards, I think we're gonna have to create a new I gotta build a new bookshelf, man. Because it's all full. But it's just in my little office. I didn't have an office until the pandemic, but um once I didn't have my studio during the pandemic because you know, we couldn't go back and forth. I told my engineer to just let's just make this my studio. So I have a little baby office, and that's where my awards are. But I think I want to do something a little more special now because it's growing. That family is growing.
Do
So
the Grammys actually change shape? Is it exactly the same Grammy every single year?
I've noticed with mine, I mean, yes, for the most part, but I've seen some older ones that the shape is like evolved and updated. Between mine, they're all about the same. Sometimes the base is bigger on certain ones. Maybe it's because they have to write, you know, more features or some more names or something like that, or the title of the song's longer. But for the most part, mine are all around the same shape. But I've seen some older ones that were a little different.
Yeah. The last Maroon 5 album, Jordi, was 2021, and they're fairly consistent putting an album out every 3 or so years. So there must be
Yeah.
something in the works, I would imagine, at this point.
Yeah, man, we're cooking. I mean, Adam is writing, I'm excited for this music whenever it comes out. I have no idea when it will, but yeah, we've been working and I'm excited. That's all I can say right now, but there's a lot of inspiration right now happening between the band and that's really exciting for me. Just to see Adam like back into it and really excited about creating, when you've accomplished this much, it becomes harder and harder to find inspiration. But it seems like he's going back to his teenage days of inspiration right now. I think it's just a great time. So I can't wait to see what comes of it.
That last record featured Stevie Nicks. Were you actually in the room with Stevie when that was recorded?
I wasn't there. I wasn't there for that. When we recorded that, we recorded as the band together, and then Stevie recorded her part. But Stevie did the Hollywood Bowl with us before, I believe it was, and at Adam's wedding, I got to play for Stevie as well. Yeah, and we sat next to each other at the party after the wedding, and so I've gotten a chance to hang with Stevie Nicks a little bit. Yeah, but not on that specific song.
On that specific song in particular, can you explain to me, like, that song has 7 producers and 6 songwriters listed, which sounds to me like a factory. When PJ
Mhm.
Morton does a PJ Morton record, it's PJ Morton songs and maybe, Matt Wallace or a producer. Why
Mhm.
can you do it so simply, but, they uh, take a construction company to put an album together?
Yeah, I think it's all different types of way to make music these days. I think when you talk about pop music, it's more recently a team effort, more than anything, what I've seen. And sometimes when you take from other songs and you sample other songs there, that brings on those writers as well. For me, I think it's just a totally different process. I mean, I make soul music, and it just comes from a different place and generally has to come from me first, from what I'm trying to say. So I think it's just a different process altogether. But I mean, when you think about She Will Be Loved and This Love, that was those guys in a room, writing songs together, is Adam and James or Adam and Jesse. So I think the most important part is getting it out, getting out whatever thoughts you want to have. I know some purists, talk about, one person versus 10 people, but I think ultimately is this whatever comes out, if you can get your thought out, that's the most important thing. So just different approaches. A lot of times I like to be by myself, because I'm distracted by having a lot of thoughts all at once.
Well, it's great to get you back into Australia as a
Yeah.
solo artist this time, maybe as a Maroon 5 member next time.
Yeah,
And PJ Morton, thanks for joining us here at Noise 11.
my man. Thank you for having me.